dump in progress. I wasn't planning on a dump starting. I started getting this live stream together while we were sitting on top of this channel right here. But we're dumping right now. So what's going to happen? This will make this video a little more interesting, actually. Now that we've got a pretty hardcore little dump occurring. Let's zoom in on that guy first. Look at that, dumping hard. Sheesh. It had been sitting up here for about the last 36 hours. And like my last video, I talked about this channel. I hadn't drawn it in. It's really not, it's not a very good channel, but it's that bullish structure, right? I was showing this in my last video, and there it is. I just kind of came off the top of it twice. There is some interaction here. I was expecting it actually to kind of stay on top of this line here, but it hasn't. It's come back down into the channel. So where's the likely bounce? This white line is 55,686. This white line, white horizontal lines, 53,097. Those are likely supports. I don't see any interaction in the middle of that channel. And maybe the bottom of this channel could be support. That's about 51,000 right there. It would be as far as down as it would go. I don't think it's going to dump a whole lot. What I was going to make this video about is what do I think is going to happen coming into December, pump or dump or both. For those of you who've been watching along, this is my chart I've named the Wonder Chart. What it is these red vertical lines last Friday every month is the Bitcoin futures expiration date. These red lines. This green one is one as well, but it pumped up to it. But every one of these red lines last Friday month, and it's dumping down to it. So we put in a red line here. Well, the red line was November 26th. I do believe we've printed a yellow line. The yellow lines are pumps. Every single time there's a pump within about 5 days of the red line. So what do I think is going to happen now? Let's go back to every red line. I don't want to make this video too long, but let's scrunch this chart down just a touch and zoom in, and let's go back and see okay, because we're just coming off a red line, right? 3 days ago. 4 days ago, depending on when you watch this video. So when is it dumped after a red line? All right, so I know the answer already. Never. There's never been a big dump immediately after a red line. It's always a pump. There was one time here. It was actually the green line. Actually, the green line. That means it pumped up till last Friday month, and that's the only time it's ever dumped. See that right there? So, uh-oh, I bumped my cord. Get the screen back. Okay, so what happens after the red line? Red line. Is there a dump after this red line? This is January. Definitely not a dump there. Is there a dump after the red line in February? A little bit. See a little wick came down. That's not really a dump though, right? And then the yellow line's where the pump starts. So that's not really much of a dump. What about March? Last Friday, March. Is there a dump after the red line? No. April. Is there a dump after the red line? Oh, don't do this to me now. Stupid cord. Is there a dump after the red line? No. It does kind of come back down to where it was, but it's not really much of a dump. There is a dump. There's always a dump later. Don't get me wrong. The blue lines every month is the dump. There is a dump coming, but I mean specifically immediately, days after. Is there ever a great big dump? No. This is like 10 days later, the big dump starts. That's the Elon Musk crash. And let's see. May, after the red line, is there immediately a big dump? No. Grizz, get away from me. Get my cat off my computer. See how it works? It's a pump away from it. There is a dump, right? This is kind of a strange month, recovering from the big crash. But red line, is there immediate dump after the red line? No. It pumps first, and then the dump comes. That blue line right there is just about 4 or 5 days after, about 5 or 6 days after the red line. That's the soonest dump. That's the quickest dump after a red line right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 days. So, that was a slow dump over like 3 weeks, and this activity was a little different because of the big huge crash. There's the dump after last Friday of the month, the worst dump that's ever been immediately after the last Friday of a month, and that was after a huge pump, right? And we're coming off a huge dump right now. So here's a red line. In August, is there a great big crash, big dump after the red line? There's a little. It's about 4%, but then it just kind of goes sideways and up. So no, not immediately after. No. What about in September? Is there a huge dump after the red line? No, not really. The bottom of that wick is there. A few days later, it's there. What about October? What about October? Is there a big dump after the red line? No, not that I can see. Now every month we print a blue line. The blue lines are the dumps. Every month there is a big dump. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just talking about like right now, the time frame immediately after a red line. This chart is showing it's pretty much always a pump, right? So what I feel right now is this could come back down to like 50. 55.6, 55.5, I think will probably be the ultimate bottom. If I don't know, wait, this is for the 55.6 mark line right here. Watch for the bounce right here. Let me enlarge this so you can see. So right now where we're at, red line, is there going to be a big dump? I highly doubt it. It would be very odd for Bitcoin to continue dumping down below 53,097, right? It would be extremely odd for that to happen. Maybe a wick, right? But then it bounced back up. Coming off a big dump like this, in my opinion, this has already been an 11% pump, right? We've already had an 11% pump from here in the last 3 candles. That's 11% pump. So technically that is a pump, but we're only 1, 2, 3, 4 days after the red line, and there's never been a big dump, right? Never been a giant big dump. It's always a pump first, and then we'll print the blue line out here somewhere, and then the dump will come. So what do I think is going to happen is I do believe that there's enough bullish sentiment out there for December. I do believe, and I was talking about this in my last video, it could still dump, it could still come down here or something like this, but I do believe it's going to recover, and at some point we're probably coming up to, I like this line here at 63,475. I like that a lot for a top in December, and then print the blue line, the dark blue line, and then this is the last Friday in December. I like that a lot, something like that. It could come up higher. I want to show, I think one of two things, here or here. What worries me is my gut feeling tells me that we might be, if you go back in history, back here to May, my gut feeling kind of tells me we're coming off an all-time high, and we're here, right? We're about right in here right now, right? And maybe a pump, and that's the biggest crash in the history of Bitcoin. That my gut tells me we might be doing this, right? So let's see what that looked like over here. That's what that would look like. That line at 63,000. Let me get this off the screen. That would be just about perfect, right? What I'm talking about is this structure here. There's two things I think could be happening. We're either kind of like right in through here, and we're gonna go and set another all-time new high in December, or I kind of feel like we might be kind of like right in through here, right? And we might be having a nice little pump, but we might be on the verge of a 50% crash, right? So that's just what my gut tells me. We've been through this. I've been watching this every day, and that would look like what I've been saying before I even went back and looked at that. What I've been saying is December feels kind of like something like this to me, right? And there's definitely a dump coming of some sorts, but is it going to be the big 50% mambo jumbo, right? You know, all the way down here to this $30,000 level, right? And then the recovery. Now the all-time new high pump would kind of look something like this, boom, right? And then the dump. But I really like this line here, is the December top, 63,475. I will keep an eye on it for you, and I will be making videos daily or every other day. I do believe this dump that we're on right now is just the run-of-the-mill market activity. This red guy here, it just occurred basically in the last 10-15 minutes. I wouldn't be too worried about that right now. I don't you know, it could come down further. It might come down and test 53,000 again. I think that would be probably the bottom again if it were to have that much power. And then the recovery. I don't think we've had the December pump yet. Well, because it's not December yet. But I'm not actually going by months. These red lines are the last Friday of the month. So that red line is November 26th. And we've had an 11% pump coming off that red line already. So technically that qualifies for a pump. And it could just dump right now. This chart says, you know, that could be a possibility. But I don't think so. I just don't think so. There's too much enthusiasm. There's enough enthusiasm out there now to drive this higher. I don't think we've seen this cycle, this last Friday of the month cycle. I don't think we've actually seen it yet. So we might have another 20% pumpage coming. You know, another 15% or so. Maybe more. What if it does come up here? I like 72,000 area. Right about in here is a new all-time high where it would get rejected. But I'll keep an eye on it for you. I sure hope you enjoyed this video. As always, thanks for watching. I wouldn't be too worried about this current dump. I think it's just the normal take profit and the normal action. I do believe it's about to come back up. Next few candles, next 3 or 4 days. 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Looking for the nice start, a nice juicy pump. Later.